Hello and welcome to the DGTL Growth Podcast, where marketing leaders turn playbooks into pipeline. I'm Suse Barnes. Today, I'm thrilled to be talking with Josh Rosen, co-founder of Reticle and president of Hotspex Media. Josh, welcome and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Excited to talk to you today.
Great. How is your week going so far?
It's Tuesday, I think. Yeah, it's good. So far, so good. We're off to a good start.
Good. Tell us about Reticle and Hotspex and what you do at both of these companies and your vision for them.
Starting off with the big questions right off the bat.
Yeah.
So, it's been a journey. I co-founded the business in 2013 with my partner Alexander Schur. We both still operate the business today. Where we started versus where we are now is, as much as there's similarities, it's also completely different. I just had the benefit of being back in Toronto, where our head office is, with the team. And I think we're at about 43 full-time staff now, which is amazing growth from where we started 13 years ago when there was three of us in a tiny little downtown Toronto office. So, just in that of itself, you can understand just how much growth and how much change has been happening. So, Hotspex Media was originally called Wave Digital Media. We were a programmatic trading desk before programmatic was the catch-all term that it is today. That's how old I am. That it was RTB. So we started back then servicing a lot of brands directly, and mostly agencies, PR agencies, creative agencies, and traditional media firms, mass media firms that were trying to enter their way into this crazy new digital world. And it led us down a path to eventually being acquired by a global insights and analytics firm called Hotspex, thereby forming Hotspex Media in 2018, which enabled us to build a specific product called Reticle AI. And that was kind of the love child, as I like to refer to it, of the merger of our two entities, and both designed to serve different markets. So with Hotspex Media, we're more of that bespoke, hands-on managed service group that works with what I'd refer to as challenger brands, with a few enterprise brands within our stables as well. But that's our sweet spot of where we look to work with brands that are on the rise, up and coming, where we could really leave our mark and create an impact and create that long-lasting relationship. And then with Reticle is really designed to be a data layer, a SaaS tool where other members of the trading team, hands on keyboard, could access our data layers within their existing tech stacks, within existing budgets, and they could deploy a unique execution of contextual media buying, which is, I like to say, contextual driven but emotionally powered, is where Reticle comes into the mix there.
Cool. Curious about the emotionally powered piece. Can you speak more about that?
Yeah, so we leveraged the Hotspex human motivation framework, and that was really tried and true over a 20-year period, working with hundreds of brands globally, mostly in the CPG space, where building those distinctive brand assets and being able to differentiate yourself, not just at a category level, but also at that individual brand level, right? We wanted to build something that was really unique that could leverage that and scale it through the power of digital, essentially. And in order to do that, we had to figure out a way through AI to really ingest the open internet and be able to create different emotional markers or signals against what specific content looks like, and create this triangulation effect. So you have your piece of content, what that looks like. Then you have the emotional signal that content is sending out. And then you have the brand. And that brand is really that final point, because whether it's a car brand, a toothpaste, a paper towel, an airline, whatever the case may be, they all represent something unique and different. And that's where we're able to triangulate what that particular attribute or group of attributes that the brand is really looking for, and be able to get them in front of that right audience that aligns to that emotional aspect.
Amazing. so often advertisers are caught with category lift instead of brand lift.
Yeah,
So, being able to make a difference to the brand, I'm sure, is a super valuable offer. Is that correct?
you're doing our sales pitch for us right here. That's really where we think is our unfair advantage and where we've built what is a pretty good reputation, I would say, but obviously I'm very biased in this,
Mm-hmm.
as being that trusted partner that really wants to push the advertisers that we work with or the partners that we work with to go beyond, impressions and metrics that are for more vanity. What is really going to drive an impact? And sometimes that can come from brand growth metrics like ad recall, purchase intent consideration, and overall growth and awareness. And that's really where we see a huge amount of opportunity.
And you're seeing, case studies, or you have case studies based on what has created that emotional charge with Reticle, right? And how people are engaging more with the brand is really what is moving the needle for the brand, right?
That's absolutely correct. And I mean, I could quote a whole bunch of numbers. I'm not going to because I also am wrong and upset a lot of people back at my office. But traditionally, when we do see Reticle involved in the media plan, there is significant lift across some of those more brand building metrics, as we alluded to. At the end of the day, it really comes down to what the brand and category and the creative is, and
Mhm,
able to grow that impact and how we're actually going to measure it. If it's something that is highly identifiable and has that strong mental availability, as we like to say, like Crest toothpaste, it's a lot harder to measure the impact of that brand awareness on something that has such high brand awareness already. So with products like that, it's more about where can we drive more, foot traffic as an example. Is there a landing page for a contest that we want to take them to? Is there more purchase intent consideration, or is there greater feeling that the advertising is emitting the emotion that the brand wants it to? And we can measure that.
amazing. Are you looking at testing different creatives in Reticle, or is it merely in the front end of the campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. We're always open to test and learn, experiments. We typically
Uh-huh.
with more long form content with Reticles, so online video, TV, YouTube as an example, but for display or native can be in the mix as well. We unfortunately are unable to work within social at the moment, so it leaves those other channels, but there's obviously still plenty of opportunity to test and learn and show success using emotional.
Mhm. And are you able to talk at all about what's involved in the AI piece of it?
I mean, at very broad strokes, it's completely in-house built. We have a tremendously talented team of individuals who have been engineering this thing for the last almost 4 years now. It really hasn't gone into prime time until the last 2 years. We had some really specific go-to-market test partners that we're very grateful for their testing, their beta test on it essentially, and it's something that we're continuing to evolve. I mean, you mentioned it off the top or pre-recording that we were eventually going to get into this subject, with favorite subject, with the robustness and consistent rollout of new AI features. It's very hard for us to just sit there and be like, okay, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Every week we're trying to find a new way to apply what is new and exciting in the world of AI to see how it can impact our product set. I would say the biggest impact that it's had for us and has informed our product development is within the internal computational horsepower. So really being able to look at, first of all, everything we do is at a URL level, not just domain. So we can get very specific and granular into the piece of content. Obviously, not with CTV yet. We can't get granular, but where we can, we will. And we want to be able to use internal tools to be able to deeply analyze where we're winning bids and where that campaign performance is coming from relative to our emotional signals. And we just didn't have the ability to really ingest that type of data and then sort it without it being a huge manual lift even a year ago. Now, with the power of AI, we can start looking at that, and then that can inform greater decisioning for the packages that we put into market to work with the advertisers that are buying our data set. And that's really exciting.
For sure. Is that part of the reason why you said you've had some great growth over the past few years?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of it. It comes down to being able to differentiate yourself the same way that brands need to find what makes them unique and distinct, like how many black t-shirt manufacturers are there? Something that makes, Lululemon better than Aloe to me, at least, right? And we want to give ourselves as many opportunities to win with the brands as possible when they're selecting their agency partners. So I think building a piece of technology that can be leveraged by the industry as a whole, that's been recognized by the Drum as an example, for changing ad tech and Best Buy side innovation, by the way, humble brag.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It really gives us that differentiator, that distinction point to say we understand how this world works, not just at a holistic level, but really deep down in the weeds. We're building technology that services the industry, that uses all the various pipes and components that go into programmatic for ourselves. And we can pass that learning onto you through the products that we're developing, but even just through the internal know-how of our campaign teams, of our traders.
Great. How do you find customers, clients?
I want to say that's like the $100 million question, right? We've been very fortunate. We've worked with some tremendous marketers, both on the brand side and the agency side. Fortunately for me, I've had a long career in the company that I founded, and some of those individuals have moved around over the years, and they tend to take us with them wherever they go. So referrals are a really big component of that. We've been heavily investing in our outbound efforts. Most recently, sign up for our newsletter if you haven't already. Some aggregator type sites where people are searching for agencies have helped with some of that inbound coming back to us. And then
Mhm.
colleague Trisha Allen, who oversees our business development efforts, her and I are on a relatively small speaking circuit that sees us all over the world speaking out on various panels on various topics around programmatic, AI, building trust, brand love, emotion in advertising, whatever the case is. We can always bring it back to make it something about us, and that wins people's hearts and minds, and hopefully we get an email as a result of it.
Awesome. What innovations are you looking forward to in programmatic or your business in particular?
Well, we're really excited about rolling out an internal project that's going to help maximize our efficiency as an internal buying team. That may eventually roll out into a SaaS-based product that we could sell to other trading desks, or even components that can be leveraged by our clients to allow them to upload creative, to traffic creative, to pull reports. So that's an innovation that I'm really excited about, continuing to evolve Reticle in terms of its functionality and its capabilities as AI becomes more vast and widely accepted, to see how we're going to be able to adapt what's already been established. I think one of the challenges with AI is we don't know what's fake anymore. And there's a concern that there could be a degree of manipulation that happens to get people to buy things. So, maybe something like Reticle turns into an AI validator that's like, hey, this is not a real person. This is an avatar. Only 60% of this ad is real. And the rest of it has been manipulated to try and sell me a trip to the Bay Area because that background is amazing. You
Yeah,
know, I I don't know. If I knew, if I had the crystal ball, we probably wouldn't be talking right now.
sure. What's challenging for your business, or what big lessons have you learned most recently?
I don't know if we have time for all of it. What's challenging for the business? I like to be controversial or unique at times to stand out. But unfortunately, I think we all have the same problems, whether it's as a founder, entrepreneur, or just, digital media person.
Hmm.
You want to keep your staff engaged. You want to find challenging clients, but that are not actually challenging, just like good work problems to have. Want to find more of them. You want to double down. Same way we look for lookalike audiences when we're serving ads. You want to find lookalike clients, especially of the ones that are really great. Been really blessed to work with some amazing clients over the last 13, 14 years now. Continuing to just make Hotspex Media the amazing place that it has been. We've been through so much as a management team together, being so young in our lives and careers, watching people buy their first homes, getting married, having their first kids, graduate programs, etc. I'm so blessed to be able to be part of that. Just being able to keep that going, I think, is a challenge in itself, but a positive challenge that I'm looking forward to undertaking. And then, as we talked about, we're in a really interesting and dynamic time with AI, one that I don't think we've seen in recent years, maybe since the onset of social media, where things started to really change and really take on a cultural moment that we're all going through together. So, just trying to roll with the punches and deliver the strong work that we're known for, find more of those great clients that can continue to push us and challenge us. And hopefully we push and challenge them right back. And I think really selfishly, I would like to see the company kind of step out of our shadows a little bit and be what I think we should be, which is a little bit of a household name, competing up there with some of the larger folks and winning some more notoriety.
Cool. What metrics are important to Reticle?
I mean, that is a good question. You'd have to ask the advertiser that, and I think that's
Hmm.
where the challenges exist. Again, we talked about this, the idea of these vanity metrics of looking at CTR as an indicator of campaign success, or cost per click, view through rate. It could vary. A lot of time we'll get a report and be like, oh, Reticle performed pretty good, but not as good as our other campaign. And we're like, well, can we see the side by side comparison? And they're running skippable Reticle, but non skippable their other stuff. And we're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And then we have to go back and then we redo the test. And they're like, oh, you guys really outperformed. We're like, yeah, right. So we really want to get away from these vanity metrics. We really want to, at the end of the day, I think by the nature of what Reticle is designed to do, is really make a long lasting impact that's not stuck in that short term, immediate ROAS window. We really want to look at long term brand building. There's so many studies around this. The long and the short of it, the Les Binet and Peter Fields study, it's really over a 3-year curve or longer before you see that impact. So I would really like to be part of plans that are looking at more long-term brand impact, brand health overall, how being emotionally aligned is really important to making that purchase consideration, and how a brand is perceived by an individual, and then driving that eventually to a conversion that's not an immediate click through or sign up.
Do you often have clients that are with you for as long as 3 years?
We do. We absolutely do. We have a great client base. Our attrition rate is at an all-time low, especially for our business. Even our people, we don't have a significant turnover. So it's certainly something that we can do. It's just a matter of getting the right clients to invest in that type of long-term view of our work together, which we don't have the luxury of.
How much do you think is the actual software or tool, and how much do you think is the creative that the agency brings to it?
I mean, if you ask a creative person, they're going to tell you the media is the reason if a campaign fails. If you ask a media person, they're going to tell you it's the creative is the reason why that campaign fails. That being said, I do think it is a blend of both. I feel one of the main challenges that digital has brought forward and what AI is creating is this notion that, hey, we can create 1,700 different versions of your Facebook ad in 4.5 minutes. Okay, maybe that is important. I don't know. There is this idea, and I grew up in advertising in the olden days, as I like to refer to it. And there was this idea where, measure twice, maybe 3, 4 times and cut once, trying to understand who the audience is, really trying to come up with some witty, clever, copy headlines. What is that visual, and, what's its role in the ad? What's it designed to do? And then putting it out there. And we kind of hope for the next 30, 60, 90 days. And then we get the report from the brand that showroom traffic was up, or the franchises were getting a ton of requests, or the phone was ringing, whatever the case may be. I kind of want to go back to that. And I think it's really important that we leverage the tools that we have with AI and its capabilities. It can reduce that time to market significantly. We can create some really impressive work, especially in the realm of video. So maybe we can create some incredibly complex, brilliant TV, connected TV, or, YouTube spots that would have required months of shoot time, tremendous amount of cost, insurance, liability, travel, ups, all this stuff that we can now do in a week and get everything done. That's an exciting proposition to me. That's where I think we can really leverage the tools at our disposal, where creative can really start to shine. And again, embrace what AI is doing and not look at it as a threat. And then I think part of that is also leveraging the creative to the channel. And so often it's just like a spray and pray. Like we don't adapt. We don't think about the sequential messaging component. We're not using the channel necessarily as effectively to convey the message that we want through the creative vehicle. It's just been manipulated and condensed to fit in that frame. I think slowing down and going back to a little bit more of the old school way and making sure that we're serving ads in the right place, and that we're modifying or adapting the creative to make sense for where it's going and playing into the nuance of that placement, can have tremendous results, and where media and creative can really work effectively together.
Sure. Do you do any targeting, personalization, kind of geo targeting that way?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Right.
that's table stakes. And again, there's so many opportunities to do creative optimization, to do adaptive creative, leveraging like back-end catalogs and having that serve the ads appropriately, especially in social and carousel ad units. There's really limitless possibilities. Again, it comes down to why. Does it make sense for us to do this? And is it going to move the needle, so to speak, for the brand? And does it make sense that we use that type of creative tool, not just use it for the sake of using it because it's there?
Hmm. Absolutely. Where did you go to school, Josh?
I went to Seneca College in Toronto, Canada, a creative advertising business program there. Unbelievable experience, great group of people, great program, and got a job right out of there in advertising. I never looked back. I was never the studious sit in a class type.
I guess I'm asking because I teach at University of San Francisco in advertising, and just curious your thoughts on getting a job today in the advertising space. What advice would you give young graduates?
Is all this on the record or off the record?
Let's say on the record first.
If you're not leveraging and experimenting AI in your spare time, then you're destined for failure entering the job market. Time will tell. The near term, most people will be okay. 3 years from now, I feel a lot of those entry level roles, especially in this space, may have gone away. But again, maybe something new will come out. Maybe we'll have hologram technology that requires something out. Like, who knows what's going to be available to us? But in the near term, with what I can see and touch and understand, which is the biggest problem maybe is my comprehension of some things, is that learn to use the tools, make yourself very valuable. I can't remember if somebody said it to me or if I read it, whatever the case may be, early in my career. And it was learn how to Google things, right? If I ask you something and I can be a resource to you, even if it's just from Googling, that makes you valuable. And the same can be said with what's happening with AI. If I can get answers, if I can create something fast, effectively, and take some of that burden and responsibility off my superior, then that makes me very valuable to the organization and will get you into rooms to expose you to bigger, better opportunities, which will elevate you in your career. That's my I think you asked for advice. That's my advice and take on it.
Yeah. Was anything off the record there?
Yeah, I guess that's okay. Yeah.
Well, curious what would be off the record?
I might have swore a lot more. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's okay too. It might be good for the show.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where do you want to be in the next 6 to 12 months from now with your business?
I have some pretty large goals for us in mind. We've continued to grow and been able to show uh, a lot of resilience. We have promoted significantly from within. We have a tremendous team. I can't speak any more highly of the folks that work at Hotspex Media. We're constantly reworking, our internal systems, our process, tasks, leveraging the tools. I want to see where that nets out. I really want to continue to grow the group, maybe some M&A activity in there to get it to accelerate us. But I think we can be a tremendously proactive player in this space that is taking a lot of the industry by surprise, working with some very great brands, delivering tremendous results and doing it in a very innovative and efficient manner with an incredible team of people.
Super. If you could change one thing in your business today, what would it be?
I know this is going to sound very cliche and whatever, but I wouldn't change anything. I'm a very big believer in everything happens for a reason. One thing happened that impacted something else. So to go back and change that may have, the butterfly effect down the road and put us on a different course and create a whole entirely different set of issues and challenges and problems. I'm very grateful for where we've come from and all the lessons learned and where we are today, and very optimistic for the future for us. So I wouldn't go back and change anything.
Awesome. Do you have any predictions for what 2026 will look like for brands and advertising agencies in general?
It's going to be exciting, that's for sure. I mean, we're watching the merger of a couple massive behemoths come together. I think still all experiencing a little bit of what that fallout is looking like. There's certainly a rich amount of talent out there, to be determined on where some of the lesser brands start to fall. But with that, you may see some really exciting startups emerge out of there. Some really brilliant creative individuals and minds that were maybe handcuffed to global agreements or specific, brand guidelines, that may take those relationships, create their own startups, their own boutique agencies, and leverage the tools that are around us and really create something beautiful. I would say that with, AI, to keep coming back to it, we're really on the precipice of something very unique. Uh, Creative may come back and be the dominant, you know, thing that it was going back, 70 years ago. Who knows?
Yeah, let's hope so. It would be fun. Right, let's bring ad entertainment back.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that. When I was coming out through advertising, and people would ask, like, "Oh, where do you work? What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I work in advertising." They're like, "What? Like that's a job?" I'm like, "Yeah, I work at an ad agency. There's 700 people." They're like, "How is there so many people that work in an agency? Like, how hard is it to make ads?" And I would always say, I would take my creative team and put them up against any Hollywood film creative team, right? The ability to have to create that emotion, tell a story, capture, and obviously I'm only speaking about work done well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not the personal injury law firms and local dealership ads that did our television. But the really good work is it's just so good. It's so thoughtful. It's so creative. Even as recent as last night, ironically, there was a brilliant ad with this young couple who had just started dating. It was for ChatGPT. Have you seen this ad?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
It was just this young couple, and he was cooking for her, and you could tell there was like this nervous energy between them, but they were enjoying each other's company. And it starts with like them in the kitchen, like close up, and him putting the food into the bowl. And then it starts to zoom out. And as it's zooming out outside of his apartment, going outside, a ChatGPT prompt starts coming up. And the prompt is, I'm cooking for someone that I just started dating. What is a great dish to make that's not too complicated, but shows that I care. And then a recipe. And it was so familiar to us. Every aspect of it was incredibly familiar, incredibly emotionally rich, but beautifully simplistic in its execution. And it was for an AI platform. And to me, that gave me hope that we're not going to be overrun by machines, that this notion of human oversight is not just a buzzword phrase and term, that there really still is room for the human in the loop here. And it needs us. It needs that experience. AI can't fully understand that human experience of, cooking for your person for the first time and with that.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to human in the loop emotion coming back into everything, right? A tool doesn't have a heart.
That's right.
And the empathy and the emotion, the pain that we feel is really what moves us, and we need more of that. And so I think those companies that understand it have a fighting chance.
And ironically, ChatGPT seemed to get
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, they can obviously hire good people
That's
to
right.
do their marketing, for sure. Well, Josh, this has been so fun to chat with you. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing so much of what you're doing with Reticle. And with that, we'll say thanks so much. And unless you want to add any way people can reach out to you or contact you, or
Yeah.
how can people work with you?
I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to send a request and a note there. I'm always there, Josh Rosen at Hotspex Media or Reticle AI. And then my email address is super simple, josh.rosen@hotspexmedia.com. I'm pretty good at getting back to everyone, so I definitely hope to hear from some listeners, even if it's just to talk about ads.
Cool.
Yeah.
Super. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.